All right, boys and girls, we started this fractions and then decimals unit after spring break, and you've been doing it all online. And I think it's time we finish it up and move on to something else. So today that is what we are doing, finishing up fractions and decimals. And at the top of your paper today, I'd like you to write assessment, page 253, 254. Pause the video until you have that set up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over each question with you today, and I'm going to help you get your page set up, get everything organized, and I'll go over each question so you know exactly what you're supposed to do. And then I want you to do each question with me as we go along, but I'm not going to tell you any of the answers today. And when I see your work, I will kind of give you a little mark like emerging, developing, proficient, or exceeding. No, what's that one? Extending. So I will kind of let you know how your understanding is of fractions and decimals. And then we're going to move on to something else. Okay? So number 1 on your paper, we have A. Number 1 says, write the fraction for the colored part of each shape. So for A, you need to look at that, and you need to write the fraction that represents the yellow part, okay? So just think back to how we did fractions, what the top number means and what the bottom number means. And you're going to do that for B, but for B, you're going to do it for this one. So remember to count the colored part, and then for the denominator on the bottom, remember what you have to count for that. And C, that one as well. So a fraction for each of those. Pause the video until you're done each of those. Okay, so now you should have a fraction written for A, B, and C. And now we're going to move on to number 2. Okay, number 2 says, which shape is 2/3 yellow? So you have to choose. You're only going to write one letter in there. Is A 2/3? Is B 2/3? Or is C 2/3? Which one means 2/3? So only one of them is right, 2 of them are wrong. And let's say it's letter C that is the right one, then you would put C in there if that's the one that means 2/3. But I'm just guessing. I'm not telling you what the answer is. Okay? Pause until you have your letter chosen. Okay, number 3. Number 3 says, write 3 sentences to describe this group of shapes. Use a different fraction in each sentence. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of this one, just so you know what to do. And then you're going to choose, you're going to write 3 other sentences after that. So here's the example, okay? EX for example. So I'm going to look at this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes all together. Remember, this is a group, so we count all the items in the group. So that I know that I have 5 on the bottom. And now I have to pick a characteristic. So I'm going to pick stripes, okay? So only one of these has colored stripes in it, okay? So I'm going to say 1 out of 5 has stripes, okay? That's my sentence. That's a fraction sentence. So I picked out a characteristic. I made sure I had my numerator on top, my denominator on the bottom, and then I said what I was looking at. I was looking at stripes for this one. So for this one, boys and girls, you're going to need to put 3 more of those. But now, because I chose 1/5, you cannot choose 1/5 anymore. So you have to find something that's 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, or 5/5. And so it could be stripes, it could be something else. So look for what is same and different in all of those. Okay? Pause the video until you have all 3 of your sentences done. Okay, So once you are done that, then we're going to go on to number 4. Number 4 says sketch. That means draw a group of shapes. So we're going to do a group like this that shows the fraction 5/8. Okay, so we're going to write that down. Now you need a group of objects, but when I look at the group of objects, I should be able to tell that 5 of them are the same somehow, and you should know how many to draw all together. Okay, so you can choose color, you can choose shape, you can choose size, you can actually draw pictures of things and make 5 of them similar. So whatever you would like to do for that one, a group of shapes, so you have to draw a bunch of different shapes. The fraction tells you how many, and 5 of them need to look similar somehow. They have to have the same color, they have to have the same size, something has to be the same. Okay, so pause the video until you are done number 4. Okay, number 5. Number 5 we have not done for a while. So I am going to do an example with you, and then you're going to do the actual numbers for number 5. So don't copy this part down right now. Let me just refresh your memory. Okay, I am going to give you 2. So remember, you're not writing, you're just remembering right now. I'm going to write down 2 different fractions, and I want to know which one of these is bigger. Okay, so remember way back we did fraction strips. Okay, and I want to divide this top one into 4 parts. That's what the denominator tells me. And then I want to shade in 2 of them. That's what the numerator tells me to do. For this one, I need to divide it into 5 parts. A little bit trickier. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that last section is 5. And now I'm going to shade in 3 of the parts. 1, 2, 3. Now when I compare the 2, I can see that this one is obviously bigger. So 3/5 is bigger than 2/4. And the way that I figured that out was not just looking at the top numbers, not just looking at the bottom numbers. So when you go to this one, you can't just look at the bottom numbers to figure it out. No. You need to use fraction strips and draw it all out. So I'm going to help you get set up for this, but then you're going to have to write them in order. Okay, so the way that you get set up for this, you're going to be copying this now. You're going to write all 4 of your fractions like this. And you're going to put a fraction strip that is exactly the same length beside each one of these. Well, as close as you can get to exactly. Okay, and then once you have that all set up, you're going to do what I just showed you how to do before. If you don't remember, then rewind on the video. And then once you have this all drawn, you're not done. Now you need to put these in order. Look at that. It says in order from least to greatest. So I need to see the fractions in order, okay, at the end. So that's going to take you a few minutes, boys and girls. So pause the video until you are ready. Okay, number 6. Number 6, I will help you get set up on this one as well. Draw a number line from 0 to 1. Okay, so we need a number line like that. 0 to 1. It says label half. So think about where half would go. Half is always right in the middle. So there is half right there. Use estimation. That means you are going to think about it and do as best, as closest to it as you can. So you're guessing, but you're not just wild guessing, you're thinking about it. to place each fraction on the line. Okay, so we've got 4/10, 3/10, 1/12, and 10/12. Okay, so let's just take a guess right now. So let's say I had 9/10. Okay, 9/10. I would imagine that this was divided up into 10 sections. So how would I do that? 1, 2, 3. Oops, that wasn't very good. Make them a bit bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm thinking about that. So if I got up to 9, 9/10 would be about right there, right? 9 out of 10 is almost the whole thing. It's almost one complete item. So think about that when you're doing 1/12. Is that most or barely any? Where would those numbers go? So 9/10 was one that I just did with you. That's not one of the ones they want you to do. So the ones they want you to do are 4/10, 3/10, and then 1/12 and 10/12. Okay, so do the best you can on that. Think about whether those are greater than half or less than half. That'll help you. Okay, pause until you're ready. Okay, so if you were done that one, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers marked in on here. Okay, there should be 4 numbers marked besides the ones that are already there. Okay, number 8, a little bit easier again. Number 8A, write a decimal and a fraction for each colored part. So we want for the colored part there. So A, you're going to look at this one and you have 2 jobs to do. You have a decimal and you have a fraction. Okay, 2 parts. And for B, for the yellowed part, a decimal again and a fraction. So 2 things that you need to write out for those. All right, pause the video until you're ready. Number 10, a little bit of a harder one again. I know some of these numbers are missing because I did not use all the questions, so don't worry about that. Number 10 says estimate. Remember the word for that? Round. Haha. Write the numbers you used. So I'm just going to help you get this set up properly. So when you are adding these numbers together, you are not adding the exact numbers. It says estimate. So remember what you need to do beside. Okay, it's your choice how you want to estimate. You could estimate to the tenths, that was the dimes, or you could estimate to the ones, which is the dollars. And then for B, you're going to do the exact same thing. I'm not going to write this one out for you, but you need to line it up properly. And remember, you are not subtracting the exact numbers. You need to round, okay? Pause the video and then we'll do our last question. Oh, I lied. There's 2 more. 2 more pages. So this page and 1 more. Okay, number 12. Julia had $9 to spend at a yard sale. She bought a hockey stick for $7.75. How much change did she get? So change is the money that you get back. Okay. So think about that. She had $9 in her pocket. She wanted to spend $7.75. So if she gave the $9, how much money would she get back? You have to decide whether you're going to add or subtract. You've got to remember to line up your numbers and remember all those things I told you to double check at the end when you're using money and decimals. Okay? And number 13, an African elephant was 0.90 meters tall at birth. It grew up to be 3.17 meters tall. How much did it grow? So think about whether you are adding or subtracting those numbers. Okay? Pause until you're ready, and then I promise it's the last one. Okay, very last one. This is 14A right here. This is 14B. So your job is to write the money amount right there. And I'm not going to say it again because I already said it a bunch of times, but you need to remember the stuff that you need to remember when you're writing out these numbers, okay? And that is it. So when you are done, make sure you take a picture of that whole page, and I am going to mark it, and I will let you know how you did on this unit. Way to go, boys and girls.